Shall we gather by the river where bright angels' feet have trod in its crystal tide forever, flowing from the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather by the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints by the river that flows by the throne of God. Whew. That's an old one. Ooh, that one got me. Ooh, come on, somebody. Hi. Hey, I'm Kevin, digital pastor, sometimes Christian, and woo-woo vibey ass bitch all over the internet at the Kevin Garcia. You should follow me because guess what? By the time you watch this, I got 10,000 subscribers on Instagram. She's fancy. Following me, I hope that you're getting something positive, encouraging out of it, and that you're finding liberation wherever you're at, because it's seriously all I care about. Which is also another reason that I wanted to start doing some more questions, because I've had more questions come in, and they're actually really useful questions, and I'm just wanting to use my platform for service or some shit like that. So we're gonna answer some more questions. This one, again, I always change the identifying details of whoever sends me questions, and I ask for meeting. So this person says, I've been following you for some time and also heard you on the podcast with Dirty Rotten Church Kids, which if you don't subscribe to them, you should. I appreciate you being an advocate for the LGBTQ and deconstructing Christians. I used to have a close friend who's very evangelical Christian, and she thinks that the quote LGBT lifestyle is sinful, could potentially lead them out of the kingdom of God, etc. But then in the same breath, she states that she truly loves and supports the LGBT community, including me when I came out. All that to say, I confronted her and said, hey, you can in your heart believe you're loving to LGBTQ plus people, but I want you to understand that having your beliefs that being gay is against God's design is going to be hurtful for gay people. So they might not perceive that as love. And she got really defensive and basically said, how dare you say I can't love those people? Those people? What do you mean those people? When actually I never said that. I just said that there are consequences to that belief. Ooh, come on, girl. That's some truth and trauma, TTT. I find a lot of Christians are super defensive when you infer that gay people are hurt by their beliefs because they truly believe that they're loving that community well. Have you ever experienced something like this? If so, how have you dealt with that situation? I feel like we can't be friends anymore for a variety of reasons, obviously. But I can't help but feel petty because I grew up in the church and understand that they truly believe that they are being loving. It's just confusing standing up as a gay person for the first time and it not really going well. Love always, Cheryl. Cheryl, beloved, and first of all, very sorry that you had to deal with an unkind person who was supposed to be your friend. That fucking sucks. I have been there too many times, so I just want to say I get it. I will say, however, that this one for me is actually a pretty easy one to answer for a few reasons. First of all, I am a little bit further down in my journey. Don't know where you are in your journey. Don't know if they're still your friend or not. I'm hoping not, but let's just get into it. I don't think you're being petty. I think you're actually being rightfully offended because you have a friend who thinks that she's being loving when she's not, and when you explain to her that she was hurting you, you're just like, you can't, I'm not hurting you. Do you know what that's called? It's called gaslighting. She's trying to gaslight you. Don't fall for it, mama. It's the odd thing, people don't realize, and this is something I think that's a part of supremacy culture, and I'll get into that in a second. People in positions of power do not think, especially in Christian communities, they don't think that they can hurt people because I'm Jesus. I'm filled with the love of Christ, you know? So how could what I'm doing for the kingdom be considered bad? I'm doing it for God, right? I'm telling gay people that they're going to hell for God. I'm doing it because I love them. And so that's logic of dominance and supremacy culture. And that's what evangelicalism is steeped in. So she can't see that she's hurting you, because if she did see that she was hurting you, it would question her entire worldview, because her entire, like everything within the evangelical worldview must work as a unit or it does not work at all. That's their big problem. And that's why so many people have such split personalities over certain things, because they know what love is supposed to feel like and do, but they don't do it because God. And by God, I mean white Jesus. And so she doesn't interrupt her framework, because if she did, she's afraid. I mean, that's kind of like, if we really want to get down to it, it's like there is a primal fear of hell that is bred into us as evangelicals. So to question anything is to question God. And who the fuck wants to question God, right? So in some way, like you've pinpointed it, you can see that they actually are trying to be as loving as they want, as they can be. You can see that she looks out into a fearful world because her mind has been trained by a religion that said God would send her to hell if she didn't do X, Y, Z. So that's why she's afraid of doing the right thing. And that's also why she's offended, because how dare you? That's a very white woman, very Karen thing to do. How dare you? I was doing something nice. How dare you say I wasn't loving to you? In my mind's eye, I can hear her say, how dare you? People, it's the idea of intention over impact. You can see their intention and their impact. Evangelicals only see their intention. I'm doing it to love people. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. If you didn't receive my love, particularly the way that I intended to send it to you, then that's on you. You weren't able to receive the gift. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. If you tell someone they're going to hell, like, how's it supposed to make somebody feel? And let me just spell this out real quick, is that, do you know what abusers say to their victims as they're hitting them? I'm doing this because I love you. And I know that, like, you're not physically hitting me, but abuse, like, it's all the same. I'm doing this because I love you. I'm doing this because I love you. I'm doing this, like, I'm telling you you're so bad and you're going to hell, and I love you, and that's why I have to stand against your rights. I love you, and that's why you can't get married in my church. I love you, and that's why you can't be baptized as a gay person in our church. Tell me how that makes any sense, because we know what love feels like, and we know what love is, and we know that that's not it. That's not it, cuz. No. Like, it doesn't, like, make it make sense to me. Because you know why it doesn't make any fucking sense? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. And the reason people do this and they think it's okay is because they believe in a God that would kill his own son to make up for some cosmic, mysterious death, when God could have just forgiven everybody in a snap, maybe? It doesn't make any sense. Like, if God is, even on the most basic level, if God is Father, a good father does not beat their child, nor kill them in public. We'll cover alternatives to, substitutionary atonement theory in another video. Back to you, sweet friend. Abusers do say the same thing to their victims. I love you, and this is why I'm doing it. So just point it out that way. Have I dealt with this person before? Yes. How did I deal with it? I didn't. I chose actually to start just drawing lines for myself and creating really strong boundaries around who I was willing to give my energy to and who I wasn't. My coming out process started by going to people who were closest to me, which at the time was all church people. I maybe had a handful of friends who were not Christian and evangelical. So as I was telling people, my mentor, my pastor, the old friends from old churches, it was met with either you're giving yourself into sin, silence, or an ambivalent, oh my God, well, I'm so happy for you. I just want to let you know that I disagree, but no matter what, I love you so much. It's the same thing with your friend. Just like, I disagree with it. I just love you so much. And like, what do you mean you disagree with me? Disagree with what? You can't disagree with my existence. Well, it's not just your existence. It's just, this one thing you're choosing to do. I'm just like, you haven't been listening, have you? You don't really know me, do you? It hurts to recognize that my friends, the people who I called my family, the people who I was counting on, they were more dedicated to the thing that was hurting me than to me. I thought that we were family. We didn't give up on each other no matter what. But guess what? Turns out love has conditions in the evangelical church. Whoops. I don't keep people like that close to me anymore. People like that are not allowed to be my friends. I don't call them that. I would never give them that title. They're my brother, sister in Christ or whatever, but they're not my friends. And I do not tolerate that within people closest to me. Because I do not have time. I do not have time to educate people who are supposed to be supporting me, who are supposedly like to be my friends and the people who say they love me. Like, I should not have to educate people on how to treat somebody with bare decency. And if you're my friend, friendship goes beyond decency. It goes into sacrament. But that's another topic for another time. Oof, let's get into sacramental friendship. Now that's a topic I want to talk about. I'd say don't deal with her. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to like hold on. You don't have to be their educator. Just, you've planted the seed. Let God water it. It'll grow on its own. And I will say, maybe just like think of it rather like, you don't have to think of this as like, I can't be friends with her ever again. And that might be true. You might never be able to be friends with this person, and that is okay. I have plenty of people who I'm likely never going to be friends with, but I have a little tiny glimmer of hope in like the recesses of my heart where I just remember that no matter what the devil has stolen from me, the Lord has said, I will repay tenfold what the locusts have stolen. And what I've seen in my life is that the least likely people, the people who I thought like I would never hear from again in my life, have come around and said, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And so I like to think that every single person who can't love me yet, perhaps will be able to love me in the future. Maybe. I pray for that. And maybe that's what you need to do, is just like pray that God leads them back to love. Pray that God breaks their heart for like how they're treating people. And that's the whole thing. Like, pray for those who persecute you. That's what God's talking about. Don't pray for them for blessing. Pray that they change their minds. They stop hurting people. That's the most effective prayer. Like that they would come to their senses and come back to beloved community, come back to God, so that they would have a revolution of their own mind. And so here's the thing. If you want to stay in community with this person, you have to do it strategically. You cannot just settle for being passive about your suffering and just like letting them get off the hook. I would say like, hey, would you read this book with me? And then go through one of the big gay theology books out there. I have the link in the description for resources about that shit. Ask them if they'll read a book with you and then go over it with them. And then even after that, if they're not convinced or if they haven't changed their mind or can't see it, another ask you can make is, will you commit to being in a relationship with me for the rest of our lives, no matter what? If you care about this person, you can challenge them to that, but also know that that is a big sacrifice of a relationship, because like you are definitely like there to just bear witness to them of like how their words and how their theology makes you suffer in some ways. But that's a lot to ask. And I'm not interested in half welcome in a home. That's why I say pray for them, because you lead, when it says in the good book, when you pray for your enemies, it's like you heaping them hot coals on their head. Burn those bitches with your blessings. You know what I'm saying? Burn those bitches with your blessings. So yeah, don't be friends with them. Friends who don't celebrate who you are not your friends. They're evangelical Christians and they're not your friends. So no, I don't think you can, frankly. And I think you were already arriving there. So I'll just say, this is your permission slip. It says, I don't know if you can read that. Permission to block them hoes. Signed by me, highest priest. So that's for you. Just take it. Just take it. Block them. You don't need them. They don't even want you. That's the thing. All that to say is you were right on the money when you said that like her theology has consequences, her beliefs have consequences. You can't love somebody but also think that who they are is gonna send them to hell. Like it turns them into a them. And if you see anybody as a them, then you lose you. Because that person over there that you think is separate from you is a part of you. That's the body of Christ. And so if you separate yourself from the body of Christ, what are you doing? Huh? You know what I'm saying? Anyways, yeah, it's a lot of work to be friends with non-affirming people, which is why I'm not friends with non-affirming people. They're very hard to be friends with. They're very annoying. Don't do it. Break up with your non-affirming friends. That's what I say. And then if they feel bad, maybe they'll come around. If not, they're lost. Okay, I'm done talking. I'm gonna go shoot one more video. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Tell your friends that they don't have to be friends with assholes anymore. It's 2020, we're tired of this shit. Also, we sold over 1,000 copies of my book, and I'm really thankful for that. So if you haven't purchased it, you should go get it. It's a good book. 1,026 people have bought it, or more. That was yesterday. I'm sure more people have bought it by now. Okay, I love you so much. Thank you. Take your meds, drink some water, move your body, eat something delicious, take care of yourself, because the long road ahead waits for no one. Bye.